At some point in our lives, we've all felt mentally overwhelmed with everyday life, keeping up with friends, family, financial responsibilities, relationships, etc. All these things separately can be easily dealt with. Altogether, can prove rather challenging to tackle if poorly managed. In fighting games, this is referred to as mental stack. How much focus a player can devote to different strategies and objectives in a match. Now, there's two types of mental stacks you have to tackle as a player: internal mental stack and external mental stack. Internal mental stack is the different strategies and objectives you yourself must maintain in game. This can vary from knowing which button and special move to prioritize using in neutral and pressure, which button or special move you should anti-air with, to the most optimal combo for specific scenarios. Not to mention character specific strats and objectives you have to keep up with. External mental stack is somewhat the opposite. You must maintain what your opponent's strategies and objectives are, but unlike your own, you have no control over what your opponent decides to do with their own plethora of moves. Jump ins, dashes, grabs, overheads, invincible moves, projectiles. All of these plus character specific things is what you have to mentally juggle as a player. Mental stack, internally and externally, is the core to all reasons why fighting games are very intimidating for entry-level players. So how do you get rid of mental stack? Well, you really don't. So you ever played a battle royale and it's down to you, your friends, and two other enemy teams? The circle is closing in, and one small mistake can cost y'all the entire game. That nervous feeling you get never really goes away, even for the most experienced players. You put yourself in that scenario more than enough times and you just inherently learn to control your nerves and mental state in that otherwise tense situation. See, it's the same case for mental stack. Once you've learned to tackle scenarios that you usually would fumble, stopping these issues now becomes second nature. Sometimes, mental stack can be caused by how much a player is trying to learn at once and how fast they're trying to learn it. In this case, this is usually prioritizing flashy combos and rushing the learning process on everything else. Some newer players put so much on their plate to learn, it starts to feel impossible to tackle it all, which in turn causes them to throw in the towel. While other newer players tackle 1 to 2 things at once and eventually get to a point where the basics feel like second nature. Controlling the mental stack internally is a whole battle players have a hard time winning, making the battle against external mental stack feel impossible. If you tackle each thing one at a time, and once everything feels like second nature, I promise you, you'll feel unstoppable.
So make your choice right. Select and make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one.